I'm Zoe, and I'm so excited to help you with your English journey. Today, we're going to cover a very mysterious story called The Hidden Secret, which is perfect for English learners. I'd love to know what you're curious about next. Drop your ideas in the comments. Let's jump in and make learning English a fun adventure together. Chapter 1: The Rainy Encounter. Lily never expected her life to change in an instant. But one cold, rainy evening, everything shifted. She was sitting by the cafe window, watching raindrops race down the glass, lost in her thoughts. The soft hum of chatter and the smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. That's when he walked in. Ethan. Tall, with dark hair that glistened from the rain, his eyes searched the room until they landed on her. For a moment, their eyes locked, and time seemed to stop. Her heart skipped a beat. Was it fate? Or just a fleeting moment in the rain? Chapter 2: The Spark. Ethan approached, asking if he could sit with her since all the other tables were full. Lily smiled shyly, her heart racing, and nodded. They exchanged awkward pleasantries at first, but something between them clicked. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, as if they had known each other for years. Lily felt something she hadn't in a long time: hope. Ethan was different. He made her laugh, but there was also a sadness in his eyes that intrigued her. She wanted to know more about him, to understand what he was hiding behind that charming smile. But just as quickly as they had connected, Ethan glanced at his watch and stood up. "I have to go," he said suddenly, leaving her stunned. "But I'd love to see you again." Before she could respond, he was gone, disappearing into the rain. Chapter 3: The Mysterious Disappearance. Days passed, and Lily found herself returning to the same cafe, hoping to see Ethan again. She replayed their conversation in her mind, wondering what had caused him to leave so abruptly. Then, one evening, he appeared once more. This time, there was no casual smile, just an intensity in his eyes. He sat down without saying a word, his hands shaking slightly. "I need to tell you something," Ethan said, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily leaned in, her heart pounding. What could be so important? But before he could speak, his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, his face darkening. Without explanation, he stood up and left, again. Lily was left sitting in shock, a sense of unease growing inside her. Something wasn't right. Who was this man, and what was he hiding? Chapter 4: The Hidden Pain. Weeks went by, and just as Lily began to think she'd never see Ethan again, he showed up at her door. His clothes were disheveled, his eyes tired. Without a word, he handed her a small, worn-out envelope. "I never meant to pull you into this," he said softly. "But I can't hide it anymore." Lily opened the envelope, her hands trembling. Inside was a photograph of a woman, beautiful, with soft eyes and a gentle smile. She looked familiar. "Who is she?" Lily asked, her voice barely audible. "Her name was Emily," Ethan replied, his voice breaking. "She was my fiancée." Lily's breath caught in her throat. Fiancé? Ethan had never mentioned anyone else. She's She's gone now, Ethan continued. But there's something about her death that doesn't make sense. I've been searching for answers ever since, and it's led me to some dangerous places. Lily's heart sank. She realized that the charming man she had met wasn't just dealing with heartbreak, he was trapped in a mystery that ran far deeper than she had imagined. Chapter 5: The Revelation. Lily wasn't sure what to feel: confusion, fear, or sadness. But there was no denying the connection between her and Ethan. She wanted to help him, no matter the cost. Ethan told her about Emily's sudden death. It had been ruled an accident, but Ethan never believed it. He had found clues, letters, strange phone calls that made him think otherwise. Now, he was on the run, trying to uncover the truth. I don't want you involved, Lily, Ethan said, his voice firm. It's too dangerous. But Lily couldn't walk away now. She had already fallen too deeply for him, and something inside her told her that Ethan needed her more than ever. I'm not leaving, Lily whispered. We'll find the truth together. Chapter 6: The Deepening Mystery. Together, Lily and Ethan began unraveling the mystery of Emily's death. They searched through her belongings, followed cryptic messages, and pieced together fragments of a story that didn't add up. Late one night, they received a phone call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was distorted, but the message was clear: stop looking, or you'll regret it. Lily's blood ran cold, but Ethan seemed more determined than ever. He wasn't going to stop until he found out the truth. And Lily wasn't going to leave his side. As they continued their investigation, they stumbled upon a shocking discovery: Emily had been involved in something much bigger than either of them could have imagined. There were secrets about her life Ethan never knew, and they pointed to a dangerous conspiracy. Chapter 7: The Breakthrough. The clues led them to a remote cabin in the woods, a place Emily had visited frequently before her death. It was there they found a hidden journal, filled with cryptic entries and references to people they didn't recognize. But one name stood out: a person Emily had been meeting in secret, someone she had been afraid of. Ethan was in disbelief. I knew she was hiding something, but I never thought it was this. As they pieced together the puzzle, the tension between them grew. Lily could see the pain in Ethan's eyes, the guilt he carried for not knowing the truth sooner. But more than that, she saw the love he had for Emily, a love that still haunted him. And for the first time, Lily wondered if she could ever be enough for him. Chapter 8: The Betrayal. Just when they were close to finding the final piece of the puzzle, something unthinkable happened. Lily received a call from an anonymous number, warning her to stay away from Ethan. He's not who you think he is, the voice said. You don't know the whole story. Confused and shaken, Lily confronted Ethan. But he denied everything, insisting that the call was just another scare tactic to keep them from the truth. But doubt had already started to creep into Lily's mind. What if Ethan wasn't telling her everything? What if the man she had fallen for wasn't the man she thought he was? The tension between them grew, and for the first time, Lily wasn't sure if she could trust Ethan anymore. Chapter 9: The Final Discovery. Despite her doubts, Lily continued helping Ethan. They uncovered the final clue: a key that led them to a locked box hidden in Emily's old apartment. Inside, they found documents that revealed the truth. Emily had been involved in a dangerous organization, and her death had been no accident. But just as they were about to go public with their findings, Ethan made a shocking confession. "I knew," he said, his voice trembling. "I knew about Emily's secret life, but I didn't want to believe it." Lily felt like the ground had been pulled from beneath her. "You lied to me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't want to lose you, Lily," Ethan replied, tears in his eyes. "But now I realize that I've lost you anyway." Chapter 10: The Shocking End. Just when Lily thought things couldn't get worse, they were ambushed by men from the organization Emily had been involved with. In a heart-pounding confrontation, it became clear that Ethan wasn't just a victim, he had been part of the conspiracy all along. "I did it for her," Ethan confessed, his voice breaking. "I wanted to protect her, but I made a terrible mistake." Lily's heart shattered as the man she thought she loved revealed his darkest secret. He hadn't been trying to uncover the truth, he had been hiding it. As the authorities closed in, Ethan turned to Lily one last time. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For everything." Lily stood there, frozen, her heart heavy with betrayal. She had fallen for a man who had been lying to her from the start. And now, it was too late to turn back. So, how did you like the story? Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you loved? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, take care. Today, we're going to cover a very heartwarming story, which is perfect for English learners. I'd love to know what you're curious about next. Drop your ideas in the comments. Let's jump in and make learning English a fun adventure together. Chapter 1: The Letter. Maya never believed in love at first sight. She thought love was a choice, something that grew over time. But everything changed when she found the letter. It was an old letter, hidden in a book she bought from a second-hand store. The handwriting was beautiful, the words filled with raw emotion. "To the one I will love forever," it began. Maya's heart raced as she read on. The letter spoke of a deep, secret love, one that could never be forgotten. But there was no name on the letter. Who wrote it? And who was it for? Maya couldn't stop thinking about it. She had to know more. She returned to the store, hoping to find clues, but the owner knew nothing. It was as if the letter had fallen into her hands by fate. And fate, it seemed, had other plans for her. Chapter 2: The Encounter. A few days later, Maya was walking through the park, still thinking about the mysterious letter. The words echoed in her mind, "I will find you, no matter where life takes us." She wondered if this love story had a happy ending or if it was lost to time. As she sat on a bench, lost in thought, someone bumped into her, knocking the letter from her hands. "I'm so sorry," the man said, bending down to pick it up. His eyes fell on the letter, and for a brief moment, he froze. "Where did you get this?" he asked, his voice soft but intense. Maya's heart skipped a beat. "I found it in a book," she replied. "Why?" The man, tall with kind eyes, hesitated before speaking. "I think." I think that letter was meant for me. Maya felt her stomach turn. Could it really be possible? Chapter 3: The Stranger's Story. His name was Lucas, and as they sat on the bench together, he began to tell her a story. Years ago, he had fallen in love with a woman he had never met. It was an old-fashioned, secret romance. They exchanged letters but never met in person. They made a promise to find each other one day, no matter what. Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Why didn't you meet?" she asked, her voice filled with curiosity. Lucas sighed. "We tried, but life got in the way. We lost contact. I've been looking for her ever since." Maya's heart ached for him. She didn't know what to say, but she could see the sadness in his eyes. It was as if he had been carrying this burden for years, waiting for a miracle. "Do you think she's still out there?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know," Lucas replied. "But I have to believe she is." Chapter 4: The Connection. Over the next few weeks, Maya couldn't stop thinking about Lucas and his story. She met him again in the park, and they began to talk more and more. He was charming, kind, and there was something about him that drew her in. But she tried to push those feelings away. This wasn't her story. Lucas was still in love with the mystery woman. She was just a bystander in a love story that wasn't hers. Yet, every time they met, she felt something growing between them. It was confusing, exciting, and terrifying all at once. Could she be falling for him? Maya didn't want to admit it, but the feelings were undeniable. Chapter 5: The Discovery. One evening, as Maya sat alone in her apartment, she pulled out the letter again. She read it over and over, trying to make sense of it. There was something familiar about the way it was written, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. Suddenly, she had an idea. She grabbed her phone and began searching for old letters, hoping to find a match. Hours passed, and just when she was about to give up, she found something. An old blog post from years ago. It was written by a woman, talking about a lost love and how she had once written letters to a man she never met. Maya's heart raced as she read the post. Could this be the woman Lucas had been searching for all these years? Chapter 6: The Dilemma. Maya felt torn. She knew she had found the woman Lucas had been looking for, but part of her didn't want to tell him. She didn't understand why she felt this way. Maybe it was because she had started to fall for him, or maybe it was because she didn't want to see him hurt. But she knew she couldn't keep it a secret. Lucas deserved to know the truth. The next day, she met Lucas in the park, her heart heavy with the weight of what she had discovered. "Lucas," she said softly, "I found something. I think I know who wrote the letter." Lucas's eyes widened in surprise. "What? How?" Maya hesitated for a moment before showing him the blog post. "It's her, isn't it?" Lucas stared at the screen, his hands shaking. "It is," he whispered, his voice filled with disbelief. "It's her." Chapter 7: The Search. Lucas was filled with a new sense of hope. For the first time in years, he felt like he was close to finding the woman he had loved for so long. "I have to find her," he said, his voice determined. Maya's heart sank. She had expected this, but it still hurt. She tried to push her feelings aside and focus on helping Lucas. They spent hours searching for more clues, trying to track down the woman from the blog post. But something kept nagging at Maya. As they searched, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this story, something they were missing. And then, just when they thought they were getting closer, they hit a dead end. The woman had disappeared. There were no more posts, no contact information, nothing. Lucas was devastated. "I was so close," he said, his voice breaking. Maya felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know how. She wanted to tell him how she felt, but she couldn't. Not now. Chapter 8: The Twist. A week passed, and Lucas didn't come to the park. Maya waited, hoping to see him again, but he didn't show up. She began to worry. What if he had given up? One evening, she received a message from Lucas. "I found her," it said. Maya's heart stopped. He had found the woman? How? She felt a mix of emotions, happiness for Lucas, but also a deep sadness for herself. Lucas asked her to meet him in the park, and when she arrived, he was standing there with a letter in his hand. She wrote back, he said, his voice filled with emotion. Maya's heart ached. She had to be happy for him, but it was so hard. "What did she say?" she asked, trying to sound calm. Lucas hesitated before handing her the letter. "You need to read it," he said softly. Maya's hands shook as she unfolded the paper. The words hit her like a wave. The letter wasn't from the woman Lucas had been searching for. It was from his mother. Chapter 9: The Heartbreak. Maya felt confused. "I don't understand," she said, looking up at Lucas. "Why did your mother write this?" Lucas sighed, his eyes filled with sadness. "The woman I was looking for, she was my mother. She left me when I was young, and we communicated through letters. I never knew where she went, but I've been searching for her ever since." Maya felt her heart break for Lucas. This wasn't the love story she had imagined. It was so much deeper, so much more painful. "I thought I was searching for a romantic love," Lucas continued. "But all this time, I was searching for her." Maya didn't know what to say. She wanted to hold him, to comfort him, but she also felt a strange sense of relief. This was the truth Lucas had been hiding, and now she understood. Chapter 10: The Unexpected Love. As the days passed, Lucas and Maya grew closer. The search for his mother had changed everything, but in the process, something new had blossomed between them. One evening, as they sat together in the park, Lucas looked at Maya, his eyes soft and filled with gratitude. "I never expected to find you," he said quietly. Maya felt her heart race. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. Lucas smiled. "I thought I was looking for one kind of love, but it turns out I found another." Maya's breath caught in her throat. She had been so focused on helping Lucas find the past, but in the process, they had built something new. The love they had found was unexpected, but it was real. And as they sat together under the stars, Maya realized that sometimes love doesn't come in the way you expect. So, how did you like the story? Have you ever felt so connected to someone? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, take care.